Previously on 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim.
I promise, I'll be back.
Something about a scar, but not minding about the scar. I don't know. Memory's a thing. This is striking some bells, but we had the guy pretending to be the guy.
Oh, was that just...
Oh my god!
Some kind of flash. Lightning, maybe.
It's a guy!
Here, I think.
Oh! He fucking is a spy! And a guy! I don't know which is worse! Revealing controversial information about a weapon? Or the fact that the chick's a dude! And I fell for it for the second time! Oh god damn it! Alright, let's kick it off. Do I remember much from last week? We'll see. It is a difficult question to answer if I remember much from last week. And how much do I remember from last week? It is a difficult thing to relatively answer. Okay. Remembering last week. Where were we last week? I think we did the girl's story and we got locked. We did another guy's story, we got locked. We did a bunch of battles, we got locked. We read a big chunk of the info as we were going. So we've read it. Yeah, I think it's gonna come back to me. Did you even write on the board last week? Not really. Not really. Not really. I was using more and more of my brain to theory craft. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. I really want to do a few more of the battles, but I do know I have to finish a bit more of the story in order to unlock. Remember how you fell for the same trap twice? Yes, I remember that. But let's stop it there. Let's stop it there. Just in case. Alright. Here comes the music. 1733. Alright. Yes, and we played in intense. Good. Good. And this is locked until 30% story progression. Yes. So we have to basically just play. I can do that. Alright. Who did I want to play? This was fun. There was just fire everywhere. You were locked. You were in 0. We got locked here. We got locked here. We didn't play you. We got locked here. Who did I feel like playing? Memory loss boy. Let's do it. I mean, he's one of the first characters we play, and we haven't played him.
Looks like I've lost them for now. I have to consider my next moves carefully.
You see, this is perfect. I'm playing a character with memory loss while trying to remember what I know about the game. It just works. Alright. I was gonna ask, where are we? But we should also be asking, when are we? There's more than one variable. From another world.
So I'm from another world? I said so in that message to myself. Must have still had my memories when I left it.
And we still have a key for a Sentinel.
Something about a way to escape this world. An outdated transceiver for communication purposes. It has a very limited range.
Yep. And we found the guy's wallet with nothing but cash, but a receipt for, I believe, 4 curry things.
As long as it's set to stun, it won't kill anybody. But it's strange. Why do I know how to use this? Oral NM C0204 is printed on the label. The bottle's made of plastic. There's nothing inside.
The mystery thickens.
There's an emblem on it. Maybe it's a car key?
It's a Sentinel key. I'm surprised it doesn't have keyless entry.
The note says 443-685-3214. What could it mean? A password of some sort?
Maybe the Sentinels require...
The note said 44. What could it mean? Sakura High School, Class 1B. Iori Fuyusaka.
There's our lead.
She definitely looks familiar, but from where? Why can't I remember?
That's definitely our lead.
Details about the dead woman I found. Chihiro Morimura, 31. Sakura High School nurse. Sakura High School. Isn't that where the ID card came from?
I'm pretty good at lever. How are you?
A note that was included with the files on Morimura. It says, if capture is not possible, then shoot to kill. Did I kill her? Did someone order me to do it?
And Morimura's like the little girl that grew up and... yeah, well, I'm not going there.
Maybe if I find this Fuyusaka person, I'll finally remember something.
Yep, that's our lead. Let's do it.
Come in.
Oh!
Are you there? Don't be a fool.
See, this is some Death Note shit. It's got limited range. By answering, it helps them narrow down that I'm in the vicinity. So I'm gonna ignore it for now.
This signal's from somewhere nearby. That's not good.
I need to change what I'm wearing. Like, we need to.
Hear me, Sekigahara. Don't be a fool.
Yeah, I'm ignoring it.
This signal's from somewhere.
I am ignoring the crap out of that. Anything
I
here?
know you can hear me, Sekigahara. Now pick up.
I take it that I'm supposed to pick up the call. I'm gonna get distracted.
Enemy.
Lies. Prove it. Prove it.
I know you don't be a fool.
There we go.
There you are. I take it you've seen the recording then.
Who are you?
Just a friend who's trying to help out.
Lies.
A friend?
I didn't expect you to be so thorough. Regardless, you handled the Morimura assignment well.
So you're the one who wrote those instructions. I can't remember anything.
That's exactly why I've contacted you. Listen, it's not safe out there. Don't trust anyone.
Anyone? Including you?
Better to be too careful than too careless.
Wait, is that the cat?
Otherwise you'll never escape from this world.
Is that the goddamn cat?
Escape?
In the meantime, just stay put and don't go far. I'll see what I can do about your pursuers. You'll hear from me again soon.
Is that the goddamn fucking cat?
Disconnected.
It's got the same tempo of speech. What the
Don't
fuck?
trust anyone, huh? He mentioned an escape, like I did in that message to myself. Should I really just wait for him to contact me again? No. He said not to trust anyone, and that includes him.
But you're kind of trusting him in a way by listening to what he says. Well,
Both the victim and the owner of this ID card, they're from Sakura High School. Maybe this female student knows something I don't.
Well, let's do it.
Once day breaks, I'll pay a visit to the school.
Have we had a shower? Because we're gonna start smelling.
Sounds like school just started.
There's the kitty.
I'm so late. Crap. I need to drop by the track room first.
What happened to your face?
No sign of her.
I mean, it's a big school. Could take a while. Bingo.
Akun.
And she recognizes us.
Iori Fuyusaka.
And the cat's just watching. I like saving. For more than one reason. Just in case. Morning at Sakura High School. I'm here for you, kitty. No? Okay.
I haven't seen you in days. I couldn't stop thinking about you.
That's a good thing.
But now, I'm just relieved to see her safe.
Okay, I was initially joking, but this is becoming a little too intimate. What's going on?
It seems like we're close. Very close. But
What, she's not your type?
I can't trust anyone.
I love how he's trusting the person on the radio.
For now, I'll act like I remember her.
Yeah, that's gonna really end well.
I want to hear what she has to say first.
She's gonna sense something's off. Like 100%. She's gonna sense something's off.
Chihiro Morimura, 31. Sakura High School nurse. A key member of Shikishima's weapon development team. The one I found dead.
Yeah, people have been fucking with time.
Is something wrong?
Plenty's wrong.
Is something wrong?
Alright, let's go with the Iori one first.
Iori, was there something you wanted to tell me?
Huh? Well,
Why is the first thing that comes to my mind, I'm pregnant? Kuma.
like I said before, I still like you.
Lo! Not far off the truth.
Even if it is one-sided.
Aww. You know what? It's gonna be easier to pretend than we thought. Wait, now I'm suspicious just by looking at the color of her hair. I'm like, oh, what? Is she not good enough? But you know what would be weird if they're actually siblings? I'm getting super paranoid now because this is a Japanese game, and their hair does look similar, and they are both, you know, height-wise and complexion-wise. And now I've started a thing, haven't I? Now I've done it.
Never mind.
I've done a thing, haven't I?
A note that was included with the files on Morimura. It says, if capture is not possible, then shoot to kill. Did I kill her? Did someone order me to do it?
But your gun is set to stun.
This belong to you?
Oh, that's my student ID. I thought I'd lost it. But I'm glad you were there to find it for me.
So, did you take it before you gave yourself memory loss so that you would meet up with her after that?
Thank you.
Well, you met up with her after that.
Oral NM. The bottle's made of plat.
Yes, just ask your potential friend with interest if she knows what the pills are.
Do these pills belong to you?
Pills? No, those aren't mine. Wait, aren't those the pills you've been taking?
Okay, so you might have given yourself the amnesia. Gotcha.
Oh, my mistake. These are mine.
Okay, so the question is, how long is it going to take to wear off?
What are they for? Are you sick?
I'm fine. It's nothing to worry about.
Okay.
Chihiro Morimura. She's the school nurse here, right?
Okay, if she was not suspicious that something's up, she should be suspicious by now. We're asking a lot of questions to which we should probably know the answer to.
Huh? Yeah, she is. What about her?
He's asking questions like a cop. Is this yours? Does this belong to you? Do you know about these pills? Does this woman work here?
What if... Ever since that day, she hasn't come back to school.
Well, this is suspicious.
Could something have happened?
What's that day all about?
Which day?
The day I heard about Miss Morimura's secret.
Okay, this is juicy. This is juicy. This is juicy.
I'm sure she's fine.
Lies!
Morimura's secret. We must accept our fate.
What?
Huh?
That's not good.
It's the Caps! Wait, it's that guy from Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. You know, the guy
It's
with the
okay.
sword.
He's gone.
You know, one of Greed's goons. Wait, what if we're being tracked by him?
Thanks.
You would think he sticks out like a sore thumb.
Oh no! My first class is about to start! What will you do now, Akun?
I don't know. Hang around the school, even though I don't even go here?
I'm gonna pay a visit to the nurse's office.
That sounds good.
But those men, won't they be on campus too?
They seem to have narrowed down my location, or at the very least where I'm supposed to be going.
Why don't you meet me here after school's out? I'll show you where to go.
Eh?
All right.
I'll see you later.
Where'd the cat go? I love how important class is. So she knows about the people looking for me, but it's not important enough that she's gonna skip class. Okay? So how much does she know?
We must accept our fate. That's what Chihiro Morimura said.
That's some pretty cheesy stuff you're saying.
It's hazy, but I think I remember.
Yes, recall, please. Love these flashbacks. That ass. That ass. Jesus.
So this is where you've been.
Take a look at the angle of his head. It's not straight, it's like slightly down. He is looking right at her ass. Yeah. Just wanted to point that out.
Figured I'd give the area an advanced survey.
Quite the view. Worth taking in one last time.
He's talking about her ass. My God. See, look at his eye level. Just follow his eyes. You see where he's looking.
Right.
I expect there to be considerable damage.
Wow, he went in for a close-up.
We weren't prepared for them in Sector 1. There was nothing we could do. But not this time. We will fend them off.
I certainly hope so.
We've managed to prepare 19 Sentinels. And we've had positive results in our battle simulations.
Simulations? I hope those battles that I was doing wasn't just simulations.
That won't mean much if our enemies have evolved. It seems our victory ultimately depends on luck. So let's assume we're met with the worst-case scenario. If we fail this time, we'll perform another loop.
Oh, crap. Yeah, they have been fucking with time, haven't they?
And we'll start over from the very beginning. We'll have a greater chance of success that way.
Yeah, just keep messing with time.
Even if it means leaving this world behind? No. No more running away. If we don't settle this here, then I'm initiating Operation Aegis.
Is that the shield thing?
So you intend to close the loop, then? If you do, no one will be able to leave.
Why would you be closing the loop if the loop works to your advantage?
At the very least, we'll survive.
You
Okay.
expect us to grow old and die in this godforsaken place?
When that time comes, we must accept our fate.
In any case,
Yes. If we win now, we can avoid such an outcome. Then we'll finally be able to leave this world and... Sekigahara-kun.
how long have you been standing there?
An excellent question. I don't know. So you've been using time hopping in order to try to fight off the Sentinels. And if it doesn't work this time, she intends to close the loop. And at the same time, there was an order out to capture her, and if that doesn't work, kill her. Okay. So how long have I been standing here? I'd say as long as I've been watching these two talk.
I don't know who you people are or where you came from. And frankly, I don't care. Just as long as you can defend my city from the Kaiju. Without retreating, that is.
You'll be the one in the Sentinel protecting the city. We're counting on you.
Hmm?
Well, I assume you have some questions for me.
Tetsuya Ida. So many questions.
There's something I need to confirm. If I keep my end of the bargain, then you're gonna stop using Ryoko-senpai, right?
Hmm?
Please understand, I never had any intention of using her. But I'll try to be more careful going forward.
This sounds like the guy on the radio. Ryoko-senpai. Ryoko was... Bandage head with tactics. Sort of remember who that is now.
Something else?
As a matter of fact, for the Sentinels you want command over, you require third-generation machines, right?
Correct.
Then I'll update their systems as promised. Though I have to ask, why are you having me do this? Wouldn't it be faster to go directly through Morimura?
I believe a shift in the chain of command is in order. And I'd like it to be done without her knowledge. Depending on how the situation unfolds, there's a possibility she may resort to drastic measures.
Ah, Aegis.
Is that what
Gotcha.
she was just talking about? This... Operation Aegis?
That's right.
Mmm.
Close the loop. What are they talking about? Are they planning on abandoning the city? No. I can't let that happen. I need more details on this so-called operation.
There is some time fuckery at work.
Operation Aegis. What is its purpose?
The enemy's main target is the underground mainframe.
Mm-hmm.
Each terminal is equipped with a self-defense protocol.
Mm-hmm.
However, the enemy's attacks seem to bypass it.
Mm-hmm.
So the moment they strike,
Mm-hmm.
we'll hack the terminal.
Hmm?
This will activate the defense protocol,
Hmm.
the Aegis system.
Oh wait, we've been doing that for all the past battles. So, okay, so this is before we've done any of that Aegis stuff. So that was Morimura's idea. Okay.
Isn't that a good thing?
Was gonna say that myself.
Not exactly.
What does it do?
Doing so will render our time machine useless.
Oh.
And that means we can never start over again.
But didn't we basically fight until the last Sentinel? And then the guy in the last Sentinel keeps fighting, and then he dies fighting, and then as a result we go back in time again? Or is that before this? And this is where it starts getting confusing.
What's so bad about that? It doesn't matter as long as we succeed, right?
Time will cease to flow in this world.
How does time cease to flow?
When it does, everything will descend into chaos.
Wait, what now?
And in the end, we'll be the only ones left behind in this hellscape.
Care? 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 Great, of course. They're like, hey, we're gonna drop this ball on you. And it's locked. You son of a bitch. Sekigahara met Iori Fuyusaka, who has a fondness for him. He started to remember everything about the Aegis system as he regained his memories about his conversation with Moimura and Tetsuya Ida. Son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. Satellite orbit. Movie scene. And then this happens. My name is Tetsuya Ida. A memory of a dream Shu Amiguchi had. Tomi Kisaragi stands in the shock next to a crumbling apartment building as he attempts to console her. Keitaro, Miura, and Chihiro Morimura come to rescue them, and it reveals that his name is Tetsuya Ida. Right. Memory of a nightmare that Juro has. We're shooting people. And then a wish entrusted. Judgment Day, they've made their assault, breaking through the last line of defense to put an end to the fight. Chihiro Morimura sacrifices herself to send him back to Sumire Bridge 16 years in the past. So that future goes to shit. Yep, that's what I remember. And 8 years after research, Tetsuya Ida has succeeded in developing his first android, a robot with the consciousness of Tomi Kisaragi, newly awakened as an AI, wants to know what happened to her original self. Morimura gravely informs her of her death at the hands of a certain man. I thought Morimura died. Chihiro Morimura sacrifices herself to send him back to Sumire Bridge, so maybe she didn't die. And then the last two left, or she's also an android. And then we have Operation Aegis. Yeah, so this is considered the linear flow of time, even though we're hopping through different points in time. Okie dokie. At least they kept it in a linear fashion for me. Sentinel pilot cadets. Okie dokie. It's a trap! After losing the battle in 2025, Megumi Yakushiji and Juro Izumi met once again in front of the downed Sentinel number 13. A man that was Izumi's ally appears before them as Yakushiji holds the heavily injured Izumi in her arms. He ends up dying. She goes back in time, which is why she's working with the cat to try to get his memories back. And then the cat starts activating people's Sentinel powers, which in turn gets the Kaiju to Earth, so we're looping again. Gotcha. And she wanted to close the loop, but whatever she did and didn't close it, we went for another loop. And then she's stuck in that time when the android is created. Interesting. He didn't die, they explained this. He lost his memory. And they created a new identity, and then the Morimura, as the school nurse, was observing him. schoolyard, Megumi Yakushiji asks Miss Morimura about Juzo Izumi's condition. She is told that Izumi has already lost his memories and is being treated as another personality named Juro Kurabe. So he died in the metaphysical sense. Well, if we want to talk about his consciousness being his identity, the him that was ceases to exist because his memory is basically gone. Yeah, he lost his memories, he didn't actually die. Yeah, that's pretty much as we know. And as we know, our friend here, what's her name? Girl with the long hair that's bloody playing with Cube. When did he figure out the order is linear? You're a new viewer, so be careful. I'm playing this for the first time. No spoilers. Be very careful. It shows the protagonists who are there. Yeah, names are always fun. Names are always fun. Okay, so I seem to be on the same page as it's to be expected. Cool. 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 Alright, time for me to restart the recording because we're locked. Natsuno Minami's Exterminator event. Juro Kurabe's Juro Kurabe event. Everyone's bloody getting locked somewhere. See, we've played some of your story. Keitaro Miura was... Whoops. Damn, this thing is sensitive like a motherfucker. Keitaro Miura was chosen as a cadet for a secret new weapon when his hometown was attacked. He sprang into action in the Sentinel. And the little girl we end up saving ends up being the doctor. It's nuts. We're going with you. May 1985, clear skies. Well, that's good. At least people aren't dropping bombs, monitoring the Sentinel by Kaede River.
No matter where I am, at least the sunset is always the same.
Don't jinx it! At this rate, someone's gonna blow up the sun. Gaze.
You can hardly see any stars in this era. Though I have to say, the city lights are a sight to behold.
Ah yes, you hopped through time. How's that working for you?
This place isn't too crowded. Gives me room to hang around and think for a bit. Better take advantage of that.
Damn. Imagine coming back from the 1940s into present day. People would freak the fuck out. Not only do you have internet, but ways of thinking are completely different from the wartime.
Nothing's changed today either.
What would be scary is the patterns between the 1940s and what's happening now. That would freak people the fuck out. Aww.
Our mother's terrible at sewing, but she made this for Chihiro. I'd never seen her struggle with anything so hard, but she did it.
Are you gonna end up going to the school and seeing what happens to little sis? Man, imagine that. You hop through time, and your little sibling that's a child is older than you, and you're just like...
It's pieced together with scraps of cloth. Not the best quality.
It's the thought that counts.
Even still, Chihiro took it with her wherever she went. American weapons. They came ashore during the air raid. They're enormous. Must be over 30 meters tall. Instead of wheels, they move on long leg-like appendages. Quite a terrifying sight. Like something out of hell.
Metal Gear.
It hasn't gone anywhere. It's still there, hiding behind all those elaborate curtains. That Sentinel. It's what brought me here.
Wait. So that construction thing is where the Sentinel is? Son of a bitch. That's one way to hide a giant robot. That means someone's in on it.
Why were just the Sentinel and I brought here? That thing is beyond me. I'm no expert.
I don't know, it probably has a time machine in it or something.
But I know it's capable of some extraordinary feats. Time travel, though. Could the Sentinel possess an ability like that?
Ding, 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 ding.
Before the war, my uncle gave me a sci-fi novel. A story about traveling through time to the future.
Was it called Back to the Future?
It only ever felt like a far-off fantasy. But on that day, at that moment, that fantasy became a reality.
Remember. Everything is a flashback. This entire game is one big flashback. Is that my Sentinel?
All out of flying bombs. Electromagnetic rounds are offline. Outputs dropped by 50% in both electromagnetic battering rams.
Damn. Well, this sucks.
There are just too many of them. But I'm not about to just sit here and die. I still have 2 minutes before I hit my operating limit. Might as well give it everything I got.
What just happened?
What the hell?
Is he about to hop through time? And he's gone. I'm gonna kick their ass. I'm gonna guess that you just hop through time and you end up in the same place where you were in the future. I mean, because that would make some sense. But then again, the Earth does rotate, and you could just be, you know, hopping into that same point, you know, in this space-time, which would be really awkward if you landed in the middle of space while the Earth is rotating the sun, you know, throughout the year. Which would kind of mean you sort of have to, you know, go a precise time away. Otherwise, you would just spawn in the middle of space. But I'm possibly overthinking this.
Where's the enemy? Did I lose?
Wait till he finds out about McDonald's. And how KFC has become a national holiday. And why does it look like the Sentinel is wearing one of those breathing things
It reached its operating limit.
the divers wear? So are we gonna hide this thing or what? Just park it. Just take the keys. Do.
Where am I? The air raid. Everything was just on fire.
So you didn't control that time hop.
All these giant towers with glass windows. What the hell's going on?
It's one way to describe it.
The last thing I remember is being surrounded by those new American weapons and... No. It can't be.
American City has been added to the thought cloud.
I've heard about major US cities. These high-rise buildings are common. Was I captured? And they got my Sentinel too?
Ah, yes, from his point in time, Japan was only starting to industrialize, and they started importing a lot of steel and fuel and things like that, and they started building buildings like that. Gotcha.
They must have done it when I lost consciousness. Brought me to the mainland as their... No, wait.
If they did that, they'd take away your robot.
If the Sentinel just reached its operating limit,
There we go.
then not very much time could have passed.
And you time hopped. The real question is, who activated it? How was it activated?
But this view says otherwise. It's not my homeland. Somehow, I ended up on US soil.
Wait till he finds out that capitalism took over Japan. In a really big way.
If that's the case, fine. I guess this is where I'll die.
No, stop being so... dying. Just...
But I'm not going down without a fight. I'll face the enemy, even without my Sentinel. The Sentinel. This is bad. The Sentinels are top secret. It can't fall into enemy hands.
And he just landed it next to a major city. That moment when Columbus went to America and thought it was Asia. I mean, can you blame the guy? He didn't exactly have his GPS to double check where he was. Like, he struck land. And it was like, huh. Am I in Asia?
Sentinel.
And then he sees a buffalo. And he's like, the fuck are you? He just sees all these different animals and is like, am I dead? Maybe he saw a Viking, I don't know. That would have been hilarious.
The enemy cannot get their hands on the Sentinel. That's the kind of issue that becomes a national crisis.
Yeah. See, it looks like it has the breathing thing. You know how divers wear the little small breathing thing? They just put it in their mouths.
But what can I do? I can't activate now, let alone initiate self-destruct.
Whatever you do, don't self-destruct. You just hopped. Jesus Christ.
I need to slow down and think things over.
Yes, and don't blow up.
I should probably go lie low until the Sentinel recovers.
Wait, does the Sentinel recover organically with time? How does it get its energy reserves up? Does it have like a reactor or something that just fills up the battery? Or does it have solar panels and just absorb sunlight? Like, how does this thing work?
But not because I'm afraid. My country. My little sister.
She's not so little anymore. In more ways than one.
I'd give my life for them at the drop of a hat.
How about you stop trying to give your life and start taking life?
But I have to be smart right now. And that means waiting for the Sentinel to be up and running.
Why don't you just wait inside the Sentinel? Isn't it safer? You know, just like chill inside the cockpit for a while. Oh yeah, it's got an operating limit. Even if it's dormant? Oh yeah, it doesn't exactly have a door. You like teleport inside it. Damn. Yeah. Well, I got nothing. Shit. You've been fucking with time, haven't you?
Now that I have a plan, I'd better move fast.
We have a plan?
I should get out of here before American soldiers show up.
And steal your Sentinel.
I'll stay out of sight until it's the right time to move.
Alright, you can just teleport in it. Gotcha. I just had some more question. Damn.
Everyone here appears to be Japanese.
What gave it away?
But something's off. These signs show both kanji and the English alphabet.
Oh, he's gonna have a fun time.
Ashitaba Printing, Ashitaba Bank. Why are they named after my hometown?
You want to stop by the arcade?
Sure. The one at Sun Mall?
Nah, the one at Joyland. Let's go try out those big new Sega machines that came in.
I have no idea what they're talking about.
Man, Sega was making bank when arcades were a thing. Imagine that, paying a quarter or, you know, like $50 every time you lose. For the time, taking inflation into account, they were making bank. And they didn't even need to produce multiple machines to milk multiple people. Nowadays, a company needs to produce a console and then sell games on top of that, and we complain about them making a lot of money. Oh, we paid a few $100s for a console, and we might have paid under $100 for a game. Imagine how much money kids would have been putting into these machines on a daily basis, and then another kid starts putting money in the machine. Like, those machines were making bank. I mean, I remember watching a few of them. The last Sega arcade. The last Sega would have closed, but there's still little mini arcades that aren't run by Sega. I know the one you're talking about. It's on the Sega Tower, and that particular tower had like 7 or 8 floors, and it was just all arcade machines. But I'll be honest, they were half empty. That was the issue. Like, they have these little mini arcades throughout the city, and if you go in, you've got like maybe 15, 20 machines, and usually half of them are full. Whereas when you went to the Sega Tower, half of the floors were always empty. So considering how valuable space is in the city in Japan and how much money they would have been making relative to that, it would have made more sense to sort of reduce the number of arcade machines. But given how iconic it was probably easier for them just to shut it down and use it for something else. But there's still going to be arcades around throughout Japan. Like, some of them, they still make bank on. But it's mostly, well, there's a few of them. They have, like, I don't know what it's called, but you basically follow the music with your hands, and you gotta tap all these things and do all these things, and by doing that, images of anime characters get revealed more and more. But now that I think about it, people are addicted to that shit. Damn, they're really milking people. That's damn.
But their language doesn't sound foreign to me.
Wait till he discovers, like, modern day anime. He's gonna be going like, what the fuck? Dance Dance Revolution is making a lot of money with their arcade machine. They're making new versions. Oh yeah. I see, like, new versions of these machines every time I visited Japan. They're still producing new ones. They still have, they have sort of, like, they still have the Tekken ones as well. You know, the ones where you actually sit down and you've got the 2 buttons and the... Do I call it a joystick? But it's got the directional movement. And they even host tournaments. It's nuts. And they've still got all the shooting ones and all the other ones. It's pretty nuts. And every city's got them, you know? There's always like 1 or 2 places in every city where they've got a bunch of these arcades. And you just go over there and you see the people that are hanging out. And you've got everyone. You've got, like, little kids. You've got people that have just finished school. You've got adults. It's like everyone. And then you've got this white guy that just looks out of place. That's me. And I'm just like, which machine do I play? I spent like 20 minutes looking at all the different machines before even deciding to try one. And they have some really cool ones. They have, like, these Star Wars pods. They have, like, you play as a TIE fighter, and then you can play as an X-Wing, and they're pretty cool. And they're, like, the whole thing moves. It's pretty cool. There's some cool stuff. I mean, those ones I would pay to try because it's really cool, right? Whereas the other ones are just like, oh, why don't I just buy the game at home sort of thing.
Did you see him in last night's episode? Yeah. Oh, he's so amazing. Right? I watch everything he's in.
Speaking of amazing, I linked it in Discord. China has started a campaign against, and I quote, sissy men. They are removing any feminine men from mainstream media and music in China because they're promoting sissiness. And they're promoting an image of strong, can-do soldier men. And they're increasing the amount of PE teachers in every school. And so guys in schools throughout China, they can't be, you know, studying music. They got to be doing PE, playing sport, doing push-ups, field stripping rifles, that sort of thing. They're like, no dyeing your hair, no tattoos, no feminine clothing, no feminine colors in your clothing, and for God's sakes, do some push-ups. Like, that's pretty much what they're doing. And to me, that's sort of China's prepping for war. That's what it tells me. China's prepping for war.
Female students.
You can take the boy out of 1945, but you can't take the 1945 out of the boy.
Though that's quite a bit of exposed leg. It almost seems like a different dialect, but it's definitely Japanese.
Coming from the era where clothing is conservative, coming to the future would definitely be an experience. Wait till he discovers Akihabara. Wait till he discovers one of those 18+ stores. He would lose his shit. Especially as a hardcore Japanese nationalist. He'll blame the Americans for corrupting the youth, which technically isn't far from the truth. A lot of the inspiration for digital pornography did come from the West. Up until that point, it was mostly printed media in Japan, and pornography itself was illegal, so you weren't allowed to expose anything, but they kept pushing the boundaries more and more, being inspired by the West. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend you watch The Naked Director. It gives you an interesting insight into the Japanese porn industry early on. It came from the West initially, now the student surpassed the master. Well, just look at it throughout Western society. And not even Western society, society as a whole, because we live in a digital world, right? It came that the porn industries and the porn directors pretty much held the keys to the kingdom, right? They could make someone a star. They could take an average guy and turn him into the biggest male porn star. They could take an average girl and turn her into the biggest female porn star. Now, with porn so easily accessible and virtually anyone can produce it from their room, from their bedroom, and many of them do, even on this platform, that whole structure, the whole business structure of that industry has been flattened. You no longer have, you know, an actor or actress, a cameraman, an editor, a producer, a director, you know, all of that crap. You could be the actor, actress, filmer, producer, all of that in one, live. Like, it's just, you know, I don't want to say revolutionized, but it's just basically put it on the bullet train. And so now it's not about directors and the industry itself deciding what succeeds. It's literally the people that are consuming it paying for what they like. And so you've got this, I don't want to say monopoly, but you've got this capitalism business where if you cater to the wide audience, you will grow and make money for it, which is why it's only going to get worse and worse. That's why you've got people on Twitch that are more and more porn stars. You've literally got the change from Twitch being for gamers, by gamers, to Twitch literally being an advertisement platform for porn, where people were pretending to be gamers, but were actually, you know, porn stars. Because when you start producing, selling, and streaming porn online, you're a porn star. Like, you don't have to sign a contract with a porn company to be a porn star, right? If you're producing adult content and distributing it on the internet, I mean, you're a porn star, right? Like, that's it. I'm not saying like it's a bad thing, but technically that's what you are. I mean, you don't need to be in a scene with 4 guys and 3 cameras and tripods to be a professional porn star. I mean, some people just have a shitty webcam and that does the trick, right? Like, same shit. Now, imagine being dropped into that from 1945. He would probably start hating Japan. Actually, he would most probably blame the Americans for perverting Japan, because in his eyes, Japan was a proud, conservative nation until they lost the war. And after that, capitalism spread like wildfire, and as a result, his once beautiful, proud, conservative, innocent nation turned into, well, we all know what Japan's like nowadays. If I was from 1945 and ended up in this age, I'd be asking myself, why do I have to exist? Just to suffer? It would go down several ways. It would really depend on your frame of mind. Some people are really attached to the time period they live in and the place they live, whereas some people never feel a part of the place they live. The benefit of now is that we can see what other places are like and we can move relatively easily. Mind you, this is before COVID fucked everything up, but you get my point. Because back in, say, the 1940s, the 1930s, the 1950s, if you wanted to move countries, you couldn't just buy a $500 plane ticket and fly to another continent. You would, you know, have to pack up your shit, get on a boat, and spend the next month at sea to get somewhere. And you didn't have the benefit of the internet. You didn't have the benefit of, you know, information being broadcast in real time from a device in your hand that's more powerful than the computer used to land a space shuttle on the moon. You were relying on word of mouth, newspapers, let's face it, a little bit of government propaganda and things like that. The information moved so much more slowly. So you moving and relocating was that much more difficult. On top of that, you wouldn't actually know what's happening on the other side of the world because, let's face it, information control. I mean, it's happening today, but it's harder to do. Whereas today, if I say, for example, let's use me, I grew up in Yugoslavia. Well, you know, I identified as a Serbian, that was never a problem, but that place was bombed to shit. I ended up in Australia, right? So I could slowly, let's say, assimilate to the culture. But I was always a little bit out because, one, I had a heritage from overseas and I still identified myself as Serbian. So I sought out, you know, Serbian people and people of, you know, similar origins. But then I slowly realized that I had nothing in common with the Serbs in Australia because they were more Australian than Serb. And then I started identifying more with, say, martial arts and things like that. So I started gravitating towards, you know, people from Japan and people in Asia. And so the more time I spent doing that, particularly in university where there's a lot of foreign exchange students, and then I did more martial arts, I now identify more with people from, say, Japan than I do from people in Serbia. Reason being, the people in Serbia and the Serbs throughout Australia aren't very traditional Serbian. The Serbian that I speak can be considered archaic. Like, I use very formal, very proper Serbian that was spoken in Belgrade, the capital city, back in the 1960s, 1970s, 1980s. If I go now to Serbia, they will look at me funny the way I speak because it's too articulate. You almost have to slang it down for it to make sense. So, we live in a society, right? So it depends. For him, that hates the Americans and wants to fight to preserve his country, it would kind of feel like he's behind enemy lines, especially after Japan lost the war. If you were someone that wasn't so heavily invested in that, and say you weren't born in a time of war, say you were born, I don't know, before the war, you might be fascinated by what the world looks like, because up until that point, Japan lived in its own little bubble. Everything was closed off. Foreign trade was very restricted. You had, you know, some spice routes. I believe it might have been the Spanish or someone else. There was some trading, but it was very, very, very constricted. So you might just be this really curious person that's just awed away by all this technology. Wow, moving metal things. Where are the horses? Wow, ground's strong. Where is the dirt? You know, things like that. So it really depends on who you are. Like, say for example, we're dropped 100 years into the future. We don't fucking know. What's the go? Are we still different nations? Do we still have dozens of different languages? Have we created a new language? Have aliens landed? Where has technology taken us? What's the average life expectancy? I mean, right now they're developing VR as a form of entertainment. By that point, they could already have optic implants through, you know, lenses with chips in people's brains. So no one's using screens anymore. Phones aren't handheld. People can just think. They don't even have to talk. Communication stops being, you know, auditory and physical and starts just being thinking. Instead of calling someone, I might just think something in my brain and then the chip transmits it and the message goes straight to the person's brain. Like, we don't fucking know. It would be nuts. It would be nuts. We would just be blown away. I don't want to say flying cars because personally I've seen how people drive and I would not put them in charge of aerial vehicles. It would probably be fully automated, but that would probably be one thing. Or, you know, underground, like from the Boring Company, you know, to end congestion. Or living, I mean, the skyscrapers could be vast, or we could be living in pods or cryogenic chambers. We don't know. It would be nuts. The technology would be out of this world. What we know would just be old. I mean, for them, they had propeller planes. Now you've got commercial airliners flying hundreds of people. They probably had trains which were really slow. Now they have freaking bullet trains that go how many kilometers an hour? Pretty damn fast, right? You know, back then they had wooden buildings and had to climb up stairs. Now they have these concrete and brick skyscrapers with glass and elevators that go really quickly if it's a tall building. Air condition, there's another one, right? Oh, it's getting hot. What the hell is this thing? It cools the room. It also heats the room. It purifies the air. It dehumidifies the air. It humidifies the... You get what I mean? Microwaves, what the fuck? Ovens, oh my god. Dishwashers, fucking vacuum cleaners. You know? It would be nuts. And that's just 50 years. Imagine going 100 years into the future. Or fucking 200 years into the future. I mean, shit, one of the girls is an android. That's probably fucking becoming common 300-400 years into the future, right? Why not? Robotics. Synthetic skin cells. Like, that. I mean, we already do skin grafting. We've already been doing plastic surgery. We already do reconstructive surgery. We already do, like, we can attach severed limbs if it's quick enough and, you know, the parts preserved. You know, like, we do some pretty amazing shit nowadays. Imagine technology and medicine 200, 300, 400 years into the future. I mean, shit, if we think we're good at extending and preserving life now, imagine how good people would be in like 300-400 years. How much more we understand about the human body, chemistry, chemicals, like, you know, technology just, it's fucking nuts. My brain's going nuts. It's just, duh. I mean, I just look at computing technology of how it was in the last 5 years. We're pretty much doubling every, I don't know how many years. There was this measure of technology of how many years it takes in order to double the tech. But we're not only increasing the capacity, we're also reducing the size. I mean, look at most phones nowadays and compare how powerful they are to gaming consoles 5-10 years ago and computers 5-10 years ago. Storage capacity. I mean, it's just, fuck me. And it doesn't just have to be computers. Just look at cameras, lenses. I mean, I'm not that good with medicine, but I'm sure it's the same thing in the medical fields. Science, the instruments that we have for measuring things and observing things. It would be nuts all over the place. Fucking the building industry. Fucking 30 years ago, they were using asbestos for everything. Now they know that causes cancer. Materials, we create plywood, right? We stick together these little offcuts of wood and compress them with glue, and we create cheap, you know, tables. Okay, this is a solid piece of wood, but you get my point, right? So we've got, like, everywhere. Fucking look at concrete, cement, bitumen, fucking bricks. Shit, the way they create bricks, fuck, they don't even use bricks half the time. They just pour concrete into setting. Hell, they don't even build buildings brick by brick anymore. They set the corners, they put the thing in, they pour the concrete, and then the concrete sets. And most of the time they sometimes even have pre-built slabs of concrete, and they literally slot them in place like Lego pieces. It's nuts. How about 3D printing? Sorry, did I scare people away? Am I the only one going nuts about this? Just fucking think of what we did in the last 5 years. Fucking Uber Eats, Google Maps, GPS, social media. Let's be real, guys. If we were dropped 100 years into the future, we'd be fucked. Humans probably wouldn't even wear clothes. We'd be considered weird. I sound like a doomer. I'm not a boomer, I'm a doomer. The end times are near. Our way of thinking would probably be considered archaic. I mean, we like to think that we're progressive and open-minded, but we would probably be considered dinosaurs. And, I mean, in 100 years, we technically would be. Fucking fossil fuels? Energy consumption as a whole. coal, nuclear, combustible engines. Fuck, we're using electric cars nowadays. Solar power, wind power, battery technology, renewable energy, irrigation plants. Shit. Shit. I mean, we used to print books, newspapers. When's the last time you bought a physical newspaper? Fuck me, right? Wow, my brain just... Here's another thing, and you mentioned it, food and drinks will be much higher quality, or worse, depending on, you know, how McDonald's does. People from 50 or 100 years ago, remember how we were making fun of Napoleon for being short, even though he wasn't short for the time? He was like 5'6", 5'7". That was considered tall for the time. Nutrients, lifespan. People might be taller. We might be considered short. I'm 6 foot and I might be considered short. We don't know. Maybe they just ace nutrients. What if they just fucking ace that shit? The perfect combination of proteins, fats, all of that stuff. Like 100%. Even the things that we don't know about yet. They just ace it. And every human is at their peak. Not just physically, but also mentally. I mean, hell, we're creating chips and putting chips in people's brains. People wouldn't have to memorize mathematics anymore. They could just have a circuit on a chip that does the calculation for them. I mean, I automatically think of Prometheus, you know, the movie, and the one that followed that one up, regarding, you know, creating androids and creating life and how technology can eventually glitch and the problems that it causes. But, you know, that's another sci-fi conversation for another day. But the effect would just be... wow. So yes, this guy being slightly taken back by schoolgirls in short skirts is accurate. Especially considering, well, to me, he looks like a person that is probably pumping with testosterone. And if he was in the military, he probably, you know, hasn't been with a woman for a while, so, you know. You can take the boy out of society, but you can't take society out of the boy. Wait, I got that wrong, but you get my point. Take a look at fire. It's dangerous, but its practical use for outweighed the risks. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of chemicals as well. Yeah. Given his age, probably never. Not a while. Possible. Japan was conservative. Possible. Then his hormones would be pumping like crazy, especially if he's never been with someone. Shit, his hormones would be out of control. Think of the stimulation overload. If people were so highly conservative, he's being stimulated to the max by like random people on the street. Like, fuck me, right? Like, imagine being a teenage boy and then being dropped into a porn convention. You'd just be like, what the fuck? There's titties everywhere. As long as Death Stranding doesn't become real, we should be fine. Don't jinx it. COVID's been pretty bad. We've basically been living Death Stranding for a while. When you really think about it. He doesn't even run.
So many cars. Where in the world am I?
When in the world are you?
This isn't America. It looks like Japan, but everything seems off. This is all just a terrible dream. Right? Right. It's nothing to worry about, just my brain acting up. That's why my surroundings appear to be different. We knew what the risks were going in as Sentinel pilots. Professor Doji made it all very clear to us. That's right. This has happened before. I experienced a similar illusion during the Sentinel sync test.
Wait, were we here to watch these two fight?
He's wearing a boy's school uniform.
Same school? What, they kept the school uniform the fucking same? Those cheap fucks.
But appears to have a girl's haircut.
Yep. See, this would happen too, right? Fashion, style, haircuts, hair color, colognes. I mean, just look at people 50 years ago. They fucking wore suits and hats. They wore suits with a coat over the blazer. Could you imagine people doing that nowadays? I mean, I still wear a tie whenever I go to a job application, right? Most people nowadays have never worn a tie in their life. Much less a top hat. I want a fucking top hat. That's stylish as fuck.
The hell you looking at?
Wow, you're bullying the time traveler.
This one has a particularly strange hairstyle.
It's a corn cob.
Hey, you trying to get your ass kicked?
It looks like I've finally gone crazy.
You want to see crazy?
Hey, stop!
What, you gonna slap him with your purse? You slapped him with your purse. Are you joking? That's just insulting. Wait, he knocked you out? You got knocked out? What kind of fucking... Okay, you did travel through time and you're exhausted. I'll give you a pass this one time. But if a soldier got knocked out by a schoolgirl slapping him with a purse...
What is this room?
Oh yeah, imagine waking up in this room.
Hold on, I think I remember.
Wait, he sees the airplane, the tank, and the Gundam, and he's like, holy shit, it's the Sentinel!
Some guy with weird hair hit me with his bag. This doesn't look like a detention facility.
Man, if this was a fucking detention facility, prison's not too bad. This is like a Norwegian prison. Seriously, if you want to see a prison system that's interesting, look at Norway's prison system. And look how they treat serial killers. It's nuts. The likelihood of people in Norway reoffending is statistically a lot lower than in other countries, because they actually provide prisoners with skills once they get out, rather than removing them from opportunities. But anyway, that's a whole nother system on its own.
Either I'm still seeing things, or someone removed me from the Sentinel. Whoever it was brought me to some kind of lab.
Thank God they're not playing J-pop. That would have just been weird. Imagine he wakes up to J-pop. It's like, am I in hell? Is the TV gonna start talking to you? Because that would be pretty messed up.
It's a calendar. 1985?
This is 1985? Damn, this kid has stereo systems, all these CDs, and color television in 1985? That rich motherfucker.
It's all in my head. It's just an illusion.
Shit, I had a black and white TV in the early 90s.
Foreign phonograph records. Takatoshi-san used to let me listen to his. Why are there so many records here? There are way more than I saw at the Hijiyamas. A box-shaped Technicolor projection device. The Sentinel has its own spatial projector as well, but that's highly confidential military technology.
Yeah, and now we use it for watching cat videos. You know what's gonna make a lot of people like just drop their jaws? Storage technology, camera lenses, DVD technology. That wasn't fueled by military or video games or Hollywood movies. It was all fueled by the porn industry. Advancements in compact camera technology, porn industry. Portable storage devices, porn industry. More high-resolution monitors, you guessed it, porn industry. VR, it's not video games, kids, porn industry. That's what's actually fueling the development. Porn. The internet is for porn. Even the fucking internet. Even the fucking internet. You think the fucking internet advanced so much so people could share emails with cat images? No. Porn. You know I'm right. Don't even fucking try to deny it. Some fucker in the 90s was like, man, it's taken 5 minutes for me to load this image and see these titties. Right? Guess what he did? It's like, I'm putting all our military tech to get these titties quicker. Look what we have now. Fucking streaming 4K in real time. Jesus Christ, we're spoiled. Imagine growing up nowadays where 4K is just fucking 8K. We even have 8K. We have fucking 12K, but let's not even go there. Imagine growing up where 4K is the minimum. The fucking minimum. Jesus Christ. Kids are fucked nowadays.
It's about baseball. I'm not in a military base, am I?
You know those old dirty bastards? You know how, like, all our elders in society, we regard them as being perverted? We're gonna be like that one day. Like, we are literally gonna be those people. Them youngins trying things out that we haven't even done yet.
Math, modern Japanese.
Anime girls. What?
Lots of textbooks lined up here.
What's a cat girl?
Japanese history.
Oh, he's gonna have a bad time.
So I really am still in Japan then.
He's gonna have a really bad time when he gets to 1945. Damn, he didn't even open it. Imagine the fucking 1945. Oh, okay. So the war turned in late 1944. That's bad. And then Germany lost, but Japan kept fighting. Oh, that's good. To the last man. Oh, that's good. Hiroshima. Oh God. Nagasaki. Oh God. Occupation. Oh God. It's pretty fucking bad. Like, it's pretty fucking bad. They kind of just skip that part in the Japanese education system. It's not a fun time for them. Trust me. I mean, hell, they kind of skip, 1938 to 1945 in German schools too. I mean, hell, Russian schools, they kind of teach you a little bit about the Soviet Union, but they kind of fail to mention the gulags where people were not given food and forced to amputate each other's arms and legs and eat them because they were starving. They like to leave out those parts. They like to say that the Soviet Union had a heart, but they don't like to say that everyone was hungry. Yeah. It's similar to how the Australians like to leave out, the genocide when they came here. Then again, Americans are kind of in the same boat.
This can't be right.
Oh yeah, he saw 1945, didn't he?
1945, the year of Japan's unconditional surrender.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be fun. He's gonna lose his shit. He's gonna, you can already see the tears down his face. Yeah, this is a bad time for him. Of course you would check what happened after you left.
Surrender? We lost the war?
Wait till you find out why. Wait till you find out how Yamamoto was taken out. Wait till you find out how, like, you fucking lost 3 aircraft carriers in one day.
1945. That's this year. August 6th. Atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima. 140,000 killed.
Wait till you find out that uranium was only 5% pure, and the bombs we have now are 20 times bigger.
3 days later, second bomb dropped on Nagasaki. 70,000 killed.
Imagine reading that number. Up until that point, you're thinking in the thousands, right? Like, a few thousand soldiers dying is, like, catastrophic. Like, 3,000 soldiers dying on the front that day is considered a catastrophe. Oh, we just lost 70,000 people, including civilians, and the city. It's a crater now. Like, for context, this would be mortifying. This would not seem real.
All from just 2 new American bombs? What is this book?
It must be propaganda, right?
1951. US-Japan Security Treaty signed.
Yep, Japan's not gonna have an active standing army.
1964. Tokyo Olympics?
Why not 1969, god fucking damn it? Imagine that. 1969. Tokyo Olympics. God damn it. How did no one foresee this shit? You just had to delay it by 1 frickin' year. 1 frickin' year.
How far does this go? Wait. What did that calendar say?
Uh-huh.
Foreign font Takatoshi-san.
Whoops.
Why there are way more. 1985. It has to be fake. When was this printed? It says here.
But if it's fake, why would you trust where it says when it's printed?
1985. Could it really be?
I just gotta chill down my spine even though I know he's hopping through time.
You okay?
Here comes the Y-boner. The guy with the girl's hair. Everyone's a trap. Just searched anime bear girls. You what? Also Kuma, Olympics are every 4 years. It can't be on an odd year. No, I know. But if they delayed it by a year, it would have been 1945. And then, sorry, 1965. Which means the next one would have been in 1969. Giggity.
Here.
It's so cold.
That's all that was in the fridge.
What's a fridge? Do you mean bucket of ice? What's ice?
Wow.
Not a big fan of soda, I take it?
Some kind of carbonated beverage?
Have any of you ever been in a place that doesn't have, you know, access to electricity? Have you spent any time? Or any time in places that doesn't have like regular running water and you have to use wells? And you have dunnies and things like that? That would be quite an experience. I'd recommend it like short term. Do it for a week. And then you'll really get to see how much we take for granted. Like, you know, you open your tap and it's clean drinking water. Or you need to poop and you can just flush the toilet. Like, we take so much for granted. Or you want to take a shower, you just turn the knob and there's warm water. You know, you don't have to hold a bucket and pour it over your head.
I had ramen once at a festival in Tsutsuji, but I was just a kid. Who are you?
I'm Shu Amiguchi.
I just poured water all over myself, but it's such a hot day that it's probably nice.
And we're at my apartment in Kamazumi.
Your apartment? Your fucking parents bought you an apartment? Jesus Christ. See, there's spoiled, and then there's like, my kid in high school has its own apartment. And then I'm just like, fuck off.
Keitaro Miura. So, how did I get here?
I called a taxi and brought you over after you got knocked out.
Taxi?
So you helped me.
Guilty. You know, you really pushed Ogata over the edge.
Really? That didn't take a lot, but then again, he is a slav. We're gonna work on that corn cob hair.
He was already pissed from being chewed out.
Was he chewed out by the hot girl?
If he gets in trouble one more time, he's getting suspended.
Then stop getting caught, goddammit.
Be real nice if you two could work things out peacefully.
Yes, was never an option. You know what I found really funny? I was reading these statistics about kids, right? And you know what kids learn from being reprimanded in school? It's not to behave differently, but rather not to get caught. Schools do it the wrong way. They use the stick approach too much.
I need to know one thing. What year is it?
What? Afraid you got knocked into a coma for the last few years?
Yeah, I've tried decades.
Relax, you didn't get hit that hard. It's still 1985, all right? You haven't missed a day.
Oof. 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 Japan, 40 years later. Oof. As Keitaro Miura faced off against the American weapons, he and his Sentinel were engulfed by a bright day. He woke up to find himself in Japan, 1985. Oof! I think the Bear Girls would be the least of his worries. Also, he doesn't even know if his little sister survived the air raids and bombs. It's really hard for him. Well, first he's trying to, like, process where and when is he. Which, fair enough, he doesn't even know if he's in Japan. And then, once he realizes he's in the future, it's gonna click that, oh shit, we lost the war. Bombs were dropped and people were killed. Is my family okay? You know? It's just... like, once the penny drops, the panic will kick in. I mean, he's lucky because his sister ends up being a high school teacher at a nearby school. But you get what I mean, right? So many families were separated and it's tragic. War is just horrible. War is just... It is horrible. It is, yeah, like... let's not even get started there. It is just the worst. Alright, let's continue your story. Why not? I've jumped in the rabbit hole. I'm not leaving. May 1985. Clear skies. Monitoring the Sentinel from Kaede River.
No matter where I am, at least the sunset is always the same.
Stop looking at the sun. You're gonna lose your vision.
I don't care that we lost. I'm proud my country could rebuild after what happened.
To be fair, and this is not taking into account the loss of life, Germany and Japan flourished as a result of losing the war. Mind you, this is not taking into account the massive loss of life. Fucking the loss of life during World War I and II was just catastrophic on both sides. Let's not even go there. But what I mean is, as a result of losing the war, they had to sign treaties where they couldn't have actively standing armies. The fact that they could not have an active defense force means that all of their focus went towards rebuilding their country. Whereas the other countries still had to maintain an active force because they were scared of other countries attacking them, you know? I mean, let's face it, World War II ended, but the Soviet Union was still a thing. You know, there was still a war. There were still wars after World War II. So Germany and Japan were pretty much excluded from this because, well, one, they had just lost the war. Two, they weren't allowed to have a military because naughty, you remember last time we made you know I have an army and then you sneaky build that army. Well, this time no army. You know, so instead of all that funding and all that manpower going into the military, it went into the industry. And look what happened. Fucking Germany became an economic powerhouse. Japan became an economic powerhouse, while the other countries were too busy arming themselves to the teeth. So, you know, silver lining, right? And then the people in Japan actually did prosper. A few generations ago, people were very relatively rich in Japan. People got fucking rich. People were well off. The way people are living in Japan now compared to 3 generations ago is nothing. Like the average salary now in Japan is around $22,000. It's around $17,000, $18,000 a year American. Back 2-3 generations ago, it was like $50,000, $60,000. Then take into account inflation. They were fucking rich in comparison. They could own 2 cars, go on holiday every year, eat out, go on vacations, and retire. Now they're fucked. Now they're just fucked.
But I won't accept this future. Now that I know we lose the war, that's all the more reason to go back.
Yeah, and fuck the economy.
I'll bring the Sentinel with me. And I'll change history.
And the time fuckery begins.
It's my duty to fight and protect the people. I have to save as many of them as I can.
Well, there is an easy way to end it. Just kill the scientists that create the nukes.
But what if it's impossible for me to go back? What if I'm trapped here? Chihiro. Alright, that's enough. Get it together. Don't get discouraged. You will make it back. No matter what it takes.
I love that we're using people from the past and the future to protect the present, which is a time-hopped reality from another time. What even is time anymore?
I wonder.
It's this wibbly goobly confusing mess of rubber bands all... God damn it.
What if I never actually traveled through time?
What do you mean?
It's possible that space-time here is warped somehow.
Okay, now we're getting into a really deep end of the pool. I don't want to go there.
But it could just be a local effect.
Real deep end of the pool.
I should try heading toward the school. Maybe time is flowing normally over there.
The relativity of time. Let's not go there. Time dilution and all that. Things could get really messy in this live stream.
Despite a catastrophic loss, Japan recovered quite well.
Very well.
It seems to have entered a prosperous new era.
Very much so.
Almost too prosperous.
Ah, he's not believing that it's real.
Before the war, my uncle gave me a sci-fi novel. A story about traveling through time to the future. It only ever felt like a far-off fantasy. To think it ever become a reality. Sentinel. Why were just the Sentinel and I brought here? That thing is beyond me. I'm no expert, but I know it's capable of some extraordinary feats. Time travel, though. Could the Sentinel possess an ability like that?
That's pretty OP. You've got what? 13 Sentinels? Or 18 Sentinels? Or however many you have? All with the ability to hop through time? That's quite a pickle.
Stuffed rabbit. Our mother's terrible at sewing, but she made this for Chihiro. I'd never seen her struggle with anything so hard. But she did it.
Let me guess, the mummy died and the daughter grew up.
It's pieced together with scraps of cloth. Not the best quality. Even still, Chihiro took it with her wherever she went. I checked the library for any records of such a weapon. But in all of history, nothing like it has ever existed. Not in the US, not anywhere. What was that thing?
Hurry up, Miwa-chan!
Oof, ignored.
Slow down, Iori-chan.
Female students.
By the way, there is a quality of life option for repeating dialogue in the thought cloud. Do you want me to tell you? No. Leave it as is. Leave it as is. I will find out when I find out.
Looks like the school's still here.
The Y boner.
Isn't that...
Man, if
Hey, hold on.
if he was taken back by the girls in the skirts, this is just blowing his mind.
Miura-kun? Thank goodness.
Wait, what? Sorry, I must have missed something. What? Oh yeah, you helped him find a place to stay. Right, sorry, I forgot about that. I was taken away by your sports uniform that literally looks like underwear.
You're Natsuno Minami, right? The one I met at the shrine.
Yes, you will need to do a lot of praying. Forgive me, Lord, for I have done questionable things.
What are you doing here?
I've gotta say,
The fact that her robot is called BJ, so fucking bad. Someone was having a laugh.
You had me pretty worried. I had no idea where you went.
I can't believe you're here too.
I couldn't find you anywhere. I thought you got snatched up and hauled off to Area 51.
Not far from the truth.
But anyway, what have you been up to?
Imagine you hop through time in a Sentinel and you just somehow end up in Area 51. You literally just materialize in the middle of Area 51. You're just in a base when scientists are just performing tests on new prototype aircraft, and the Sentinel just materializes in the middle of the factory, destroying everything. Like, ah yes, the new jet propulsion. What the fuck?
Wait, first...
Where have you been?
A kind student's been letting me stay at his place. Aside from that, I've been sleeping outdoors.
Oh no, man.
Outdoors?
Oh yeah, and she helps him find a place. That's... You're a good cookie. You're a good cookie, Minami. You're a good cookie.
Natsuno-san. Get it together, Keitaro.
Oh shit!
She certainly is quite... Yes.
Like I said, you can take the boy out of 1945, but you can't take the 1945 out of the boy. Does that even make sense?
I admit, she's bright, cheerful, attractive.
Uh-huh.
But right now, I have more urgent matters to tend to.
Oh, come on. She's not that bad.
Hang on. This is my mess, so I have to figure out how to clean it up. But then again, I can't really bring a boy into the house.
Oh, shit.
Oh, yeah. Granny Tamao went on a trip.
Yeah, she's definitely got the athletic physique.
So Juro-kun should be the only one home. That house does have a lot of rooms.
Granny Tamao?
Oh, shit.
Sorry. Let me go grab my stuff really quick.
The plot thickens.
I'll be right back, so just wait here.
What a coincidence. Like, seriously, small world. I mean, I know, plot convenience, but small world. Hey, Frick.
Then we'll head over to the Kurabe's house.
I mean, that's a typical athletic build, you know? Like, muscle. I mean, Hachun's the same.
Kurabe?
Except I actually feed Hachun, so, you know, curvy. I keep trying to get her to do more squats. Come on, Hachun. More squats. 1945. So this is what the place was like in 19... Shit, this place has been around for a while. Damn. So this is the kitchen. Damn. Who the hell are you?
Managed to leave quite the dent.
What the hell did you do? That's little Chihiro. Oh my god. Oh my god. Little girl, you won the genetic lottery.
Chihiro?
What's wrong?
You don't have to cry. It's not like you did this on purpose.
How the hell did you dent it?
I'm sure Uncle isn't mad about it anymore.
What about you?
Of course not. I'm your big brother.
He's only mad because it's a support pillar. He can't just remove it like the other ones.
I'll always be on your side, Chihiro.
My god, that's what I get for helping my uncle renovate houses. I know what a support pillar is.
Now, come on out. So, how'd you hit the pillar with the laundry bucket?
And how did you leave such a big dent?
You must have been playing pretty rough.
The bunny was fighting,
Oh my god.
and it beat up giant ghosts. Cause the ghosts smash all the houses, and more of them keep coming.
Such strange ghosts. Did you come up with them yourself?
Don't you dare say Kaiju.
No, Tamao told me about them.
I'm sorry, Chihiro-chan. My father has quite a short temper.
Don't we all? Tamao Kurabe. Tamao Kurabe? That sounds familiar. Tamao Kurabe. Like, it hasn't clicked yet. Tamao Kurabe. Like, I've heard this a million times. Tamao Kurabe. Don't tell me. Tamao Kurabe. Can I... Tamao Kurabe. Tamao Kurabe. Can I see my... Tamao Kurabe. She lives in 1945 with Keitaro Miura's little sister Chiki. Is that it? Is that what I paid? God damn it! That's what I wasted my shit on? One line? I'm gonna go commit a war crime.
I'm sorry. This was all my fault.
I must be confusing her with someone else.
Tamao-san.
It only happened because I told Chihiro-chan about my dreams.
Is it okay for you to be awake right now?
There was another one right under it. Oh, 1985. The landlady of the Kurabe house. She's Juro Kurabe's grandmother, who's also close with Natsuno Minami, though her long-standing friendship with the neighboring Minami house. She's currently visiting her relatives over in Shiname. Miss Morinura, which is the little girl, Jesus Christ. The woman that looks like her. In truth, she's the woman he knows as Miss Morimura. Jesus Christ! Imagine traveling through time and this is your little sister. You just buy us something to cover up those things. We need to make it presentable to get you a good husband.
I've been feeling much better lately. And I have Goto-san from Tokyo to thank for that. He's been sharing some foreign medicine with me.
Cocaine. No, seriously, cocaine used to be available at pharmacies. It was a medicine. Fucking methamphetamines were used to treat fatigue. You used to be able to go to the pharmacy and get meth. Kuma, when a woman wears something like that, she knows people are gonna look and probably doesn't care. No, she probably does care, which is why she's wearing them, because she wants them to look. I mean, she's not looking at herself. Isn't Coca-Cola Coke because it used to have cocaine in it? Yeah. It was made by a pharmacist. He used to sell it in his pharmacy. And he sold the recipe, I think, for like $170 or something. And within 5 years, it was worth $1 million. Imagine that. I'd fucking kill myself.
It's just that ever since I started taking it, I keep having strange dreams.
Drugs do that.
But they feel like more than just dreams. They're like memories that I just suddenly remember.
Thank you for the donation, by the way. And that's a raid siren.
This is bad.
Yes, and you're in a house made of wood. Knowing Americans, they're gonna bomb civilian targets. I would get out of the building. They like to commit those war crimes because, you know, if they lose the war, then they actually have to answer for them.
Turn on the radio.
This military broadcast. Air raid alarms have been sounded. Enemy is flying at low altitude. More air units to be expected. To prepare against the coming invasion, we ask all citizens to unite as we fortify our air defenses.
Japan didn't exactly have very strong air defenses at this time because all their aircraft were on the aircraft carriers which were used to attack the Americans at Pearl Harbor, and then later that one little island that ended up costing them 3 aircraft carriers, at which point they had to retreat and basically died. So they didn't exactly have air defenses. The Americans were just bombing the shit out of Japan with very little resistance. And they still chose to bomb civilian targets because America... No, seriously. America bombed civilian targets on purpose. It's pretty fucking bad. But again, it's not a war crime if you win.
It's a massive enemy raid.
We have to hurry to a bomb-proof shelter. Come on, Chihiro-chan. We have to go.
Juro-kun, are you home?
The fear of living in those times when you least expected running for your life. Yugoslavia was fun. They also bombed civilian targets. So while Columbine was getting shot up in America, Bill Clinton's like, you know those bombs that you're dropping in Yugoslavia? Well, drop double today, because 2 kids just shot up school and bombed double. Literally. He told them to drop double the bombs the day Columbine happened. Just do it. I'm waiting for Monica to give me that blowjob. Just kill more civilians, man. And people wonder why, like, Slavs are upset. I wonder why. Every time Putin fucking mentions Yugoslavia and Kosovo, you know what it's about. You know what it's about. And people are like, why does Putin have it out for Clinton so badly? And it's like, how much time you got? How much time you got? Let me tell you a tale. And then they're like, you're a murderer, Putin. And he's just like, it's one of those moments. It's like, you want to go there? You want to go there? After you bombed like schools and hospitals and community centers? You really want to fucking go there? Sorry, it's a soft spot. I was there. Fun times.
Minami-san.
It kind of left me with this, I only, like, realized it a couple of weeks ago. It sounds silly. I'm feeling a bit lightheaded now. Fun times. But I realized that I get quite anxious when the house isn't stockpiled with food. Like, right now, we have 15 kilos of rice in reserve. We have, like, enough washing detergent, soap, you know, cans and stuff like that to last us 3 months. I get anxious if we don't have food in reserve. And I didn't really think about it, but I think in hindsight, it's from the trauma. Because when bombs were dropping, there wasn't enough food. And, you know, the stores and shit, like, they're not just gonna open up every day when there's bombs dropping. So, shit's rationed. And so when you're in that situation as a kid, you learn the value of having enough. And so the house is always in reserve. I mean, I went through a situation where I basically had to, you know, work 2 jobs and live off tuna. But now that I have a job and I can buy food, I always make sure we have food in reserve. So, like, whenever something's on half price, like rice, I buy a stockpile. Like, I literally stockpile. I do the shopping at home. I keep inventory of what we have. Like, you know, subconsciously, pretty much. It's pretty... Yeah. Yeah, there's a bit of trauma. Like, I even, at one point, like... I think I told you guys the story when I was at one of the kendo competitions, and there was a lot of shit going on in my life. I actually had this full-blown PTSD episode at the middle of like a uni games thing, and there was a lot of stress leading up to that, but it unfortunately clicked over at uni games, and it didn't help that everything was loud and there was a lot of smashing and there was, you know, like bamboo swords and clanking and armor and people screaming and yelling, and something's just clicked. And I was just fucking gone. And I had this experience where I was physically there at the tournament, but my mind was not there. Like, I wasn't seeing things as in I was hallucinating things, but the way I was interpreting things wasn't as they were. I was looking at objects and what people were doing and interpreting it so differently. I saw like the lined up kendo armors as, basically people's stuff which was lined up for people that had passed away. Like, my mind was just, it clicked in the wrong way. And I sort of left and went outside, and I was sort of like, a little bit of a mental holding the handrails. I was like, this isn't good. Like, something's up. This is kind of the first time it happened. And I was like, something is wrong. Something's really bad. And one of our kendo senseis, is a sensei for the Sydney area. He teaches a different dojo, but he picked up on it. And he sort of like went outside and is like, are you okay? And he was in the armed forces here in Australia. He was in the artillery, what it's called. It's not the brigade, but it was like, they have different categories. He was like one of the officers in the artillery thing. I was like, are you okay? And I'm sort of like, yeah, I'll be fine. But he sort of picked up on it really quickly because, like, fuck. When you're in war zones, you've had people crack. And for whatever reason, like, I was gone, but I, stupidly didn't say anything. And so I was basically having matches, and I told you guys about that. And I was in matches, and I was kind of like in and out of PTSD. So my body was pumping with adrenaline. I could not sleep. Like, I was already at 2 days without sleep, and my body was just pumping adrenaline. And so when I was doing the competitions, I was just like, this is fine. You just go through the motions. You just don't talk. You don't think. You just do the competition. Anyway, we did the match. I ended up sort of winning the match. I remember the match. It was almost in slow motion. I shit you not. I felt that I was in a war zone. I felt like the guy wanted to kill me. So that actually really helped my adrenaline. So when the fight really started, I could just dodge really quickly and just finished him off like bam. And there was like 1 point. And then we did it again. Bam, another point. And then he got frustrated. And he we finished the match. And we walked back. And we were supposed to walk back. You like finish it, you're supposed to bow down. And as we finished it and I was about to bow down, he actually like came out and attacked me, which is a big no-no. But he like came out and attacked me even though the match had ended. It had already been called. And something sort of happened. Something sort of clicked. When he attacked, from what I've been told, I pretty much dropped the shinai, grabbed his arm, basically pinned him to the ground, and basically like had him by the neck. Like, I was on top of him, in full armor and everything, hand on his neck, and apparently it took like 3 people to get me off him. And like, I was not there. And, like, everything was stopped, like, all the senseis and all the kendo people like, what the fuck is George doing? And all this. And the sensei that was in the armed forces was like, oh, shit. Like, he realized immediately what fucking happened. My sensei, unbelievable sensei from Japan, like, fluent Japanese. I never got to communicate with him, but he sort of knew how respectful I was, and, I was really nice to him, and he was really nice to me. And so they had a meeting about that. And from what I've been told, in that meeting, basically like the sensei from the military probably told him, look, this is what I think happened. And I think this is what's happening. And he sort of knew, that I was from Yugoslavia and the training that I had and whatnot. And so in that meeting, they were like, expel him, banish him from the martial art, remove his rank, he can't train. And apparently my sensei said, look, your student attacked mine after the match was over. If my student wanted to hurt yours, he would be in an ICU right now. He's not getting expelled. He's not getting demoted. And I got put on like leave for 2 weeks. Like, I was just like on leave. I was just basically like sent home. But like, one of my senseis was like, don't contact anyone except me. SMS me, call me, whatever. But like, don't talk to anyone. Don't do anything. Just like, they kind of realized what was going on. And I was fucking out of it. But the one thing I do remember was that I'm very regimented in that I listen to my superiors. So even though I was completely gone, and I mean gone, I still knew to follow protocol. So I listened, like I followed it like a fucking order. And luckily, I had this other guy that I also met through Kendo. He was in the Australian Special Forces, and he was a really good guy. And you know, he heard, and he sort of reached out to me, and for like 2-3 days, I did not respond to his messages. And he kind of messaged me a few times, like, "Hey, I know what's up. You know, like, you know, been there. Like, you know, you can talk to me. It's safe." And then I eventually ended up texting him, and like when you look back at the text, it's just nuts. It was like, oh, I shouldn't be like, you know, texting. I ended up talking to him, and I kind of like went down, and I kind of got out of that. And it took a while. It took me like 3 weeks to come down from that. It was fucking intense. And he talked me through it, and I was like, shit. And so at the end of that, I had to basically like meet up with that sensei, because he was one of the people in charge of Kendo in Australia. So he was like one of the head people on the sort of like board of, you know, Kendo Australia, and another sensei. And so the younger sensei, the one, he was not a sensei at the time, but he was my senpai. He's on the Australian national team. He was pretty much running that meeting, and it was pretty much like I was getting reprimanded, like I was getting chewed out by him. You know, I shouldn't have done this, I shouldn't have done that. And I just knew, just like, fucking, you know, keep your head down, shut the hell up, just listen, don't say anything, just, you know what I mean? Like, you don't say, there's nothing you can say that's going to change what's about to happen, right? Whatever decision's made, they've already made the decision. And so basically, I got fucking chewed out for like 20 minutes. And he was scolding me. He kind of had it out for me at the time. And I don't think he really knew what was going on. But he sort of had it out for me at the time because, I don't know. It's just, it was like bulls going for horns. You know, he had one way of teaching. I sort of followed, but I didn't say anything, but I kind of knew a little bit different, but you know, it is what it is. And so I get completely chewed out, and it was like, you're suspended for 2 weeks, after that you can come. But no doing this, no doing that. And I'm like, yeah, obviously, I'm not going to do anything like that. Anyway, so he walks away, and this other guy, and I just basically look at him, and he's like, and this is the guy from the military, and I ask him, how'd you know? And he just basically looks at me, he's like, you think this is the first time someone's cracked? And he's like, next time, I hope you trust me enough to be honest. And I was like, there won't be a next time. And it was like, I hope so. And then he was like, good match, by the way. And I'm like, what happened? And then he told me the story of how it took, you know, 3 people to get me off him. And I'm like, wow. And it was like, yeah. It was like, and I was just like, shit. And I'm like, and I just got, you know, what, suspended for 2 weeks, you know? Like, wow, how did that happen? And it was like, oh, you know, our sensei from Japan, he pretty much, you know, he kind of explained what happened. And I was like, shit, you know, he stuck his neck out for me. And I respect, you know, I respect my sensei so much for that. After that, I kind of went back to Kyokushin for a while. We have a lot of people from the military there. So, you know, we've had people go nuts once in a while, but you know, this was my first time going nuts. And so I then heard that our kendo club at university was getting ready for uni games, and my entire cohort had graduated. So, you know, most of them were studying a single degree. So after 3 years, they graduated, and so they can't compete in uni games. I was studying a double degree. So I was doing 2 degrees at the same time, which is why it took 4 years. And then I was also working full time, so I was studying 3 subjects instead of 4. So it actually took me 5 years to get my 2 degrees. Worth it though. So I was technically eligible. And then I heard pretty much, you know, through my little web, that we were struggling. And up until that point, from when we established the dojo at UTS, we pretty much ended up coming second in uni games, and then we won uni games, and then we won uni games, and then we won uni games. And this was going to be like the 4th year. We ended up getting gold in the previous 3. We've got a Japanese sensei who's the student of the best kendo person in the world, and we're struggling to get ready for uni games. And the entire cohort is beginners. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to compete. So I end up going back to training. This was 2 months before uni games. And of course, my senpai, I believe he was still a senpai, or he was going for sensei at the time. He was a little bit upset. I sort of came back, you know, it was a little bit of a dynamic between us, but you know, it's okay. And I was just sort of like, look, I'm here to train. I want to compete for uni games. It's like, you haven't trained in a year. And I'm like, you know, I'll get up to speed. He's like, you think you can catch up on a year's worth of training in a year? And I'm like, I will. And so I ended up just fucking training. I pretty much told Hanshi at karate, like, look, I'm going to take a break from karate because I was competing karate at the time. I was training up to be an international competitor. And I was like, look, I'm going to take a quick break. You know, I got to help out the kendo club at Unigames and then I'll be back. It's like, that's cool. It's like, how long would it take? It's like 2.5 months. It was like 2 months before Unigames and then Unigames like 2 weeks. And it's like, okay, yeah, that's fine. And so for those 2 months, I was fucking training like 6 days a week. So I was going to all the kendo sessions, which were like 4 or 5 a week. No, sorry. It was like 3 or 4 at our dojo. Then I was visiting another dojo, you know, from people that I knew. I didn't go to the other ones because they were scared I was going to kill them. But I started visiting a friendly dojo of people that I knew just to get some extra training. And then I was going to the gym. So imagine I'm going to the gym 6 days a week, training kendo 5-6 days a week. And then at home, I was just doing like 1,000 cuts. But I wasn't doing just a cut. I was actually hopping forward, cutting, hopping back. So I was working on my stamina. I was working on my technique. I was working on my strength. On top of that, I was doing gym. So I was bulking mass. Like I was full-time training. So at the end of those 2 months, they had the final tryout for the Unigame squad. And it was just basically, okay, you get to do like a match. Whoever wins the match fights the next match and it keeps going. So I was like one of the last people. So I ended up going, and then once I got in, I just ended up beating everyone else. And so reluctantly, my senpai, you know, put me in the Unigames team. And then obviously he gave me like the whole scolding. You remember last time, obviously, how could I forget? Don't do it again. Obviously, why would I do it again? You know, I just kept my mouth shut, but I was just like, yes, 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 you know, yes, 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 yes. So I was put as like the second in the, you know, second person up in the kendo team. The first one is supposed to break the spirits of the enemy. The second person is supposed to analyze the situation. If we lost the point, the second person has to get a point to even it out. If we've taken the point, you're supposed to play passively and hold it or win. You know, it's a team game. Best out of 5 wins. So I was put as the second. That's completely fine. I did not complain. I do whatever they want. He was head of the team. He was the coach. He was calling the shots. That's fine. Anyway, we were competing. We ended up getting to, I believe it was the quarterfinals. At that point, I pretty much got made captain, Taicho, but unofficially. I was completely fine with it. So basically, I was told I can call the shots on a team level to keep their morale up, because at that point, everyone at Unigames was like, if I was walking, they would make room. They looked at me like I was Darth Vader or something. And so they had these other new guys and these big guys that were like, who's that guy? Oh yeah, I want to beat him. I was like, I don't care. I'm just here to win Unigames. I don't care. And we had some guys that was like 6'5" and things like that. I was like, I do not care. And so they basically made me, well, my senpai made me unofficial Taicho captain. So it's like, you're captain of the team, but you're not the official captain. You make some decisions, but you listen to what I say. So it was like one of those, you're kind of like a marionette. But we were the ones hosting Unigames at this time, which is kind of why I wanted us to win, because we're hosting it. It's in New South Wales. It's at our dojo. You kind of want to make sure you win. And our sensei was, you know, on the head table, so he wasn't, you know, helping manage us because he was managing the entire tournament, but, you know, is our sensei, so he's got skin in the game. He obviously wants us to win, but he can't tell us anything. He can't give us any tips like that. So my senpai that was wanting to be sensei very soon was the one doing that, but obviously the difference between a 6-dan sensei that's been doing kendo for fucking 40 years and someone that's been doing kendo for like 10, 15 years is significantly different. So I've always been taught under a 9th dan in karate. I've been taught, thankfully, under my 6-dan sensei in kendo. So I wasn't exactly a newbie. And so when my senpai made a call, like we pretty much lost the first match, and I was up against this really big guy that pretty much pushed our first person out of the way. It pretty much like knocked him out of the arena, and he ended up losing half a point twice. So he ended up losing a match because he got pushed out of the arena. And I was pretty much just told to hold the point. You know, that was like the order that I was given. And I was basically like... So, I kind of refused it. The guy literally just charged me. I let him charge me. I caught him. And then I literally just walked him out of the arena twice. Like, 1, to win. 2, to give him a taste of his own medicine. But what I was told to do was keep my distance and not let him charge me. Whereas I was like, fuck that, I can take him. And so I just took him out of the way. I got reprimanded. My senpai started chewing me out in front of everyone. Like, he started yelling at me in my face. And I was basically just like looking down, not saying anything. He was in my face, screaming. And I was just sort of like looking down. Everyone at Unigames is pretty much just like looking like, what the fuck is going on? We ended up winning that match, by the way, but I was getting scolded for disobeying. Our sensei got up from the table, walked up to him and slapped him in front of fucking everyone. And he's like, you made the wrong call. He disobeyed it and we won. Learn. And he went back. And then my senpai is like, is like not giving any orders. He's just like, he's not even looking at me. And so then I was Taicho, but I now had autonomy to actually make calls. And so after that, everyone on the team, they're newbies. They've been doing Kendo for 6 months. They were just like, what the fuck? Next match comes up, semifinals. And they're like, what do we do? And I just look at them and I'm like, win. First person wins his match. Second person wins his match. Third person wins his match. I was last up. So the third person already won that match. We already won the game. The fourth guy was up and he just looks at me and I'm like, have fun. Because he realized we already won. And so because the first 3 guys actually won, their confidence was just fucking sky high. You know, they were on cloud 9. So we ended up winning gold in the Q division. And then as a result of winning the Q division, we were allowed to participate in the Dan division. Dan division basically being black belt. So these were a bunch of newbies that have been doing Kendo for less than 6 months. They just won gold in the Q division. And now they're fighting Dans. And our senpai basically tells them, well done, you've won gold, you're up against Dans. And is like, you know, do your best and have fun. He walks away and I'm like, don't do your best, beat them. They're no better than you are. And so they're pumped with confidence. They're full of adrenaline because they've just won fucking gold, right? They're on cloud 9 and I'm just like, push the advantage. They're no better than you are. Go for gold. We ended up getting second place in the Dan division against people that have been doing Kendo for like 5, 6, 7, 8, 19 years. We ended up getting second by tying in the finals. I unfortunately had to go for overtime. I was up against someone that was a second Dan in Kendo. I could not land a shot on this motherfucker. I couldn't. For 3 minutes straight, I was trying to land a shot. Like, they were that good. But these guys were so confident, like fucking lions, that they wiped the floor. There was a little something else, you know, involved before that. That was a different story I told you another time. But these guys just did amazing. Anyway, during the celebration, we were kind of drinking and everyone was drinking. And my senpai got a little bit drunk because, you know, we won Unigames and all that. And he sort of like drunkenly like came over and he hugged me. He's like, oh, nice work. Sorry about the scolding. I was just worried. I'm like, you know, it's okay. I don't take it personal. It's like, look, you could probably join the national team with how you're going. And I was just like upfront with him. And I'm like, oh, I wasn't here because I want to compete. I was just here repaying a debt. And it's like, what do you mean? It's like, remember last time when shit hit the fan and everyone wanted to like disown me? You know, like banish me forever? Well, you know, our sensei pretty much stuck his neck out for me. So I figured it would be nice to give him a gold medal. I'm out. I haven't been back to Kendo training since. But I keep getting invited to like, you know, all the Christmas parties and that. So I went to that year's Christmas party and that, and everyone was nice and that. But they were just kind of like, damn. We could have had him on our team. Damn. But yeah, it's a good experience. PTSD, huh? It's a bitch. PTSD is a bitch. Bill Clinton ain't gonna show up by no school shooters. You have food in reserve. Lucky. Primal instinct is stronger than emotion. The will to survive is actually quite the motivator. It's quite scary, actually. When you think someone wants to kill you, you enter fight or flight. And a lot of people like to run, and some people like to fight. But you don't think, you just do. And it's kind of scary. You don't exactly have 100% control of what you're doing in that moment. Your body sometimes just does the job for you. It's kind of scary. Especially if you're not in the right state of mind. PTSD's like... So, whenever I hear sort of people that, particularly those that come from war zones or traumatic experiences, and people talk about PTSD, that shit's the real deal. Mind you, my one would have been like 1 on the scale of 1 to 10, right? It's an isolated episode under extreme circumstances. That's a 1. Imagine the people that just, you know, on a regular basis, they can't function, you know, on a day-to-day because of PTSD. And then society's like, oh, it's, you know, it's just made up. Yeah. It particularly hurts me when people, you know, join the armed forces and they put their lives on the line. They go to a war zone, you know, they have comrades and friends that are killed. They're helping make sure you could sleep at night without having to worry. They come home from the war. They're suffered, you know, physically and mentally. And people just throw them to the side and say like, oh, that's bullshit. Fuck, man. It's pretty fucked up. I've got a real soft spot for things like that because it's just, yeah. Not sure if it was PTSD, but I'm mostly numb to things that happened in the past. But one time I was curious and looked up the name of my abuser on Facebook and found his profile. I immediately felt really sick and shaky. What kind of dumbasses move on my end to look him up though? You definitely have trauma. I mean, feeling sick and shaky, that sounds like a response to it. But if it's not affecting you on the day-to-day, I mean, look, if I look up, you know, like, well, I can't find them, I don't remember their names, but if I was to look up, you know, the people that probably beat me up every single day, I probably can't even remember their faces, but if something triggered, I'd probably be scared too. I was beat up like a motherfucker growing up. So if that's sort of, you know what I mean, it just clicks. Because your association of that person and that face is with the pain and the trauma and the fear. And you just click and you're right back there where you were. I mean, think of how some people are have a phobia of something. It's usually related to a negative experience early on. Like, remember that time I told you when I went to the shower and I grabbed the towel and then the big spider was in my hand and I tried to shake it off and it just kept coming off and I just kept doing this, like trying to get it off and it was just like running up. After that, I've just been like hyper aware of spiders. Before that, I didn't give a shit about spiders. So, you know, I mean, it probably does affect me day to day, but it's been my entire life, so I don't really know any different. It's just how it is. See, it would probably affect you in terms of how that person impacted you while you were growing up. If they were, you know, crushing your confidence or stopping you from doing certain things, and that molded you in a way. At the same time, they are out of your life now, so their influence is fixed to the past. Even though we can't change the past, there is a lot we can actually do in the present, and definitely not easy. But I think a big chunk of the battle is understanding why we feel a certain way. You know, a lot of people feel a certain way in a situation and they don't fully understand why. But I think by understanding why you feel a certain way in a situation, it kind of takes some of its power away. because it stops being this mysterious thing and starts just being a reaction to something. And if you understand what that something is, you can sort of, I don't want to say think it away or rationalize it away, but you can sort of identify it for what it is. And then try to find a way to, I don't know if you can fix it or treat it or cope with it or disarm it in a way, you know, take its power away. Easier said than done, mind you. Mind you, I'm not a professional. There's probably people that do this for a day-to-day that would be 1,000 times better than me at it. But the trick would be finding someone that's good at it, that you trust and that knows what they're doing, and that's really understanding. And I found typically that a lot of people that get into that sort of line of work are people that have undergone trauma themselves, you know? Like, I remember when I went to a psychologist once, and that was like a sort of thing that I did for another thing, but it doesn't really sort of matter. And she was sort of teaching me these meditation techniques and reframing and identifying where these emotions come from. And I was just sort of like really curious, and I'm like, you know, where did this come from? They say that most psychologists study because they want to understand themselves. What was your motivation? And she was telling me, you know, pretty much her sort of story. She had cancer, and she was sort of alone. She had no one. So that was a really horrible thing. It was a really scary thing. And, well, she now pretty much adopts different animals. And a lot of the animals she actually adopts are animals that are probably sick or going to die or have cancer and something like that. And her way of coping, she's a cancer survivor, by the way. So she survived cancer. She doesn't have cancer anymore. But her way of sort of coping with it and taking power away from all that is pretty much adopting animals that have something like that, so that don't die alone. And that's her sort of way of moving forward with that. And, you know, she lives her life now. She has her friends now and whatnot. But that was kind of her story in that sense. Huh. The world's a really, yeah. I mean, a lot of people think of doctors as like quacks or, you know, people that do something for whatever reason. But a lot of people just genuinely become the person that they needed in that particular time in their life, right? You know, some people want to teach because someone really changed their outlook on life or really helped them by becoming a teacher. Some people want to be a doctor because a doctor did something amazing for them or their parents really early on, or they become, you know, a doctor or a scientist or something like that because they want to cure something that took someone away from them that was really important. I mean, like, why else would someone work such long hours and cram textbooks and do those long grueling exams and spend hours in, you know, lab coats and suits? Like, it takes a motivation beyond the paycheck, you know, to justify that. So yeah, a lot of people, you know, I mean, everyone has this story that I've found, and a lot of people think that they're alone in a lot of the experiences that they've had. But when you really talk to people, and a lot of people, you start figuring out that everyone has their own story, and you're not really alone. It's just that, you know, people don't sort of like put this on their profile. Hi, I'm a cancer survivor and I do this and I do that. It's something they keep to themselves, but it's not that uncommon. People do go through traumatic experiences, and it's a real shame that bullying is so widespread. I mean, years ago, it was considered normal. Like, oh, kids are bullying you? Yeah, it'll toughen you up, right? But it's become so malicious. It's not the type of bullying where the kid's mean to you once. You know, like, if a kid's mean to you once, like they don't play with you that one time, or your friend's a jerk to you that one time and you get that experience. It's when the kid's malicious and picking at you over time and then really breaks you down and your confidence gets broken down. And instead of that kid just getting bored and moving on and you recovering, the kid just keeps doing it. But the sad part is the kid's probably doing it to take control over something that's probably happening to the kid. I mean, a lot of kids that bully other kids in the yard are typically mistreated at home. And their way of dealing with the situation is picking on someone else, which is why there's this sort of cycle of abuse that happens, you know? Kids brought up in a very nasty household, the kid starts picking on other kids, and then when that kid has like a family unit, he starts picking on his own kids. So there's this really tragic cycle, this cyclical sort of self-perpetuating cycle of abuse that happens. And that's the really sad part. It's really hard to break it because people just keep it to themselves, and a lot of the times the victims of abuse blame themselves. They rationalize in some way that they deserve to be abused or that they're not worth anything or things like that, and that's really sad because it couldn't be further from the truth, right? So it's a bit... yeah. Can just say, the people who hurt us in the past can't do so anymore. They're the sad, pathetic ones who had nothing better to do with their lives. We're the ones who will rise above it. Pretty much. Pretty much. Pretty much. I mean, it's sad. That's the biggest joy they have in life. It's kind of empty, isn't it? All right. PTSD. Fun topic. Let me just sip some of my coffee. I'm glad that you guys found somewhat of the rant and story useful. I kind of hope that when I share experiences, it kind of... If it resonates with one person, then it's worth it. Because... we're kind of all the same in a way. We're all people. And I think it's a lot easier if people remember that. The world would be a much nicer place. Okay. At this point, that dinner must be... oh my god, she cooked? Oh yeah, I remember that. Oh yeah, fuck, I remember this. This is when she... well, I'm not going to say ask, because she didn't ask, but she convinces him to let him stay at their place.
Couldn't you have knocked first?
No.
Come on, your Granny Tamao and I are best buds. We're neighbors. Think I don't know my way around the place? Anyway, I've got a favor to ask.
Ask. Liberal use of the word ask.
Oh, Minami-san. I didn't know you lived so close.
Back off, bitch, is mine.
Did you really need to come out?
I love how growing up I missed so much subcontext in regards to what females were actually saying. This is why I say time and time again, men are idiots. We really are. We're like, we're so stupid, it's not even funny. But then again, females do mature mentally a lot quicker than guys. So when a female is like, say for example, 16, she's at the mental maturity of a guy when he's 20. That's why we're idiots. We're a little behind.
You're Yakushiji-san, our classmate? Wait, no way. Are you two?
I like the way she stands. And so what if we are? What's that got to do with you, bitch?
Do you need something from him?
See what I mean? She says it in such a polite way.
It's not what it looks like.
I love how she didn't even reject that. She's just like, I don't care if you think about it that way.
This is just... you know...
You know, it's like an entanglement. Like Will Smith's wife. It's an entanglement. She feeds me, I keep coming home. I've got no reason to leave.
Natsuno-san?
I like how she's like,
Oh, come on in.
Pardon my interruption.
Is one of her legs longer than the other? She's always standing like that. Makes me wonder why. Oh right, I get to control you. Sorry, I forgot. I'm so used to being on the other side of this interaction that I don't actually control the person. I'm just gonna go straight for your fridge.
this house is still standing.
This guy must be having the biggest trip right now.
Who are you?
Oh, you know.
My name is Keitaro Miura.
Technically, this is my family's home. What are you doing here?
So, it's kinda complicated, but yeah.
She's a crazy stalker living in my house. But she can cook, so, you know. But I don't eat her food in case it's laced with poison. But, you know.
I need you to let him stay over for a few days.
Balance out the ratio, get what I mean?
What? How do you know Minami-san?
Come on, I know you have a spare room. Just let him stay until your granny's back. In exchange,
In exchange?
I won't tell anyone you're living with a girl.
Blackmail.
That's not...
The details don't matter. Just let him stay, alright?
Look at Megumi on the right. She's like, "Aww, yes, fan the flames of us being together." It's like pitching a flag. Especially in like Japan, no one's gonna touch another girl's boyfriend because then she's a slut. You gotta love society, right?
Thanks, see ya!
So he's just like, how the fuck do I get myself into this? You know, depending on where you have a headache, it says different things. There's the headache here, the headache here, the headache here, this here. You know, there's. He's just like, oh my god. I shouldn't read into it too much. The bow of defeat is like, fuck my life. So do I like get food or what?
Natsuno-san, is this...
It's fine, it's fine. I live super close by. So if you need anything, just let me know.
There she goes. Well, this is awkward.
Well, come on, invite him to dinner, be a good host.
Pardon me. I know Natsuno-san's intentions are good, but I really don't want to be an inconvenience.
Are you hungry? Why don't you join us for dinner?
No, I shouldn't.
Oh!
Your stomach thinks you should.
No, that was,
I'll go fix you a plate.
He's just like, oh, fuck me. I just love it. He's like, fuck me. Oh, man. What did I do to deserve this?
So, Tamao-san is your grandmother?
Wait, so technically, he's your... Shit. So, wait, so he knows Tamao-san. That's his auntie. So if he's the grandson of his auntie, then... What do they call it in English? They're cousins twice removed? Once removed? Like, what's the... They're related, alright? They're related.
Is she in good health?
Grandma? She's fit as a fiddle.
Don't you dare say the fiddle word around me.
She's visiting relatives back in Shimane. That's why she isn't here.
Shimane. She must be with her mother's side of the family in Iwami.
This is just like, how the fuck do you know that? They were just friends? Oh, that's cool.
Do you know my grandma?
Yes.
You do, huh? So then, how long do you need a place to stay?
Ooh! Rude.
Not long. Just until I can make my way back home.
Well, alright. If that's the case, it shouldn't be a problem.
Wow. Rude, but okay.
Just try not to cause any trouble.
And double rude.
Feel free to use the guest room on the first floor.
Dude, you literally have another girl living in your house that you asked to leave. And you're giving this guy shit. And he's being all polite.
Thank you.
At least Megumi is paying for rent and cooking. She's paying rent? Damn! What do I do? Do I eat? Do I commit a war crime? Like, what do I do? Megumi-san! Oh, TV.
There's a projection device where the radio used to be. It's been lightly remodeled, but it's the same house.
Tamao gave Megumi a rental agreement that she could live with him. Grandma's hooking him up. Wink.
I could have sworn it burned to the ground.
Could you imagine this? It's like, I have a son, right? And there's this girl like, I need a place to live. And I'm just like, you'll do. You'll do. Oh, man. Grandparents. Am I right? Grandparents is like... It's sort of like the grandparents' chance to take revenge on their kids for being little shits growing up by spoiling the grandchildren and making the parents the bad ones. If she pays rent, I would let her stay. Rent can get expensive. Oh, yeah.
The damage on this pillar is missing, and it wasn't changed when they remodeled. If this really is the Kurabe's house, then it should be right here. Chihiro left a dent in this pillar.
What did you do to the time?
Back on my parents' property, there was a wooden single-story house. It was built in the middle of the 20th century. That humble little place stood for about 100 years. My grandfather often told me stories about it. Some of his fondest childhood memories were at that house.
That sounds lovely. I'll have it produced for you.
You will. But all I have left are old photographs.
Excuse me?
That's fine. I can restore them for you.
Did you just fucking 3D print a house?
Thank you, Mira-san. I'm looking forward to it.
You what now?
Oh. Were you just on a call with someone else?
With Professor Kurabe, yes.
Professor Kurabe.
We were discussing the layout of the residential zone.
Oh, that's right. Professor Kurabe was born in the 21st century. She's 120 years old, right?
Damn!
I know that she's receiving nanomachine treatment.
It's always them nanomachines.
But she still looks so young.
She's 120, man! And she's still functioning? That's fucking amazing by anyone's books.
She's Professor Morimura's mentor, I hear. Quite an intelligent individual.
Well, yeah. She is the foremost expert on AI, after all.
Of course she is.
Right. Anyway, is something wrong?
Why does something have to be wrong for me to call? Well, I just so happen to have a really urgent problem.
Uh-huh. What a coincidence.
I need emotional support stat. And I need it from you.
Oh, that does sound urgent. Then I'll be waiting.
Is that a booty call? That's a booty call, isn't it? That's a booty call. Sounds like a booty call. I need emotional support. Oh, I'll be waiting for you. Wink. Oh, god damn it! Keitaro Miura reunited with Natsuno Minami, whom he first met in 1945 and ended up staying at the Kurabe house at her suggestion. Unlock conditions. Destruction first area Ashitaba City Wave 5 cleared. Currently cleared up to first area Wave 10. Wait. Oh right, I've already unlocked it. Fuck. I was reading it and it's like, requirement is destruction first area Wave 5 cleared. You've currently cleared up to wave 10 of Area 1. So why is it locked? Shut up. Shut up! I was confused for a second. I was like, wait, what the fuck? Are they counting first area waves, or do you go areas then first areas? I'm like, what? Alright, guys, we've been live for 2.5 hours. Can we take a 5-minute break to get another coffee? We need a break. Because if I don't get a break, I'm gonna pass out. Come on, quick 5-minute break. Can we play some music?
She said something along those lines too.
She, huh? His real name is Tsukasa Okino. He wears that stuff for his own reasons.
That was a guy?
Don't joke about that. You're just trying to confuse me.